So I think introductions are important. Obviously, I have a lot to read and I can spend a lot of time. I will start with the gentleman on my right. Very simple introduction. All you need to do is go to any of the top marinas anywhere on the planet, look at any yacht, and if it's the sexiest, coolest, meanest yacht, he is the naval architect behind it. I always say, when I grow up, I need to have an Øino yacht.
Thank you, thank you.
Very humble, very passionate person who really transformed the yachting industry, and we'll discuss a lot more. To my further right, a person that I consider a close family friend. We met a few years ago in Monaco. Frank Binder is an amazing person because he has this drive to create, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it is the sea. Everywhere he has this joy and passion, and he came from an idea, and I remember when we first started discussing the Ulysia project, people said, no, this is a crazy idea. But Frank always believed, and Frank has the ability to make things happen, to bring them into fruition. And along the way, one thing that those of you who know him already is how caring he is and loving and giving to his friends and community. And that's exactly what he's building. I believe the world's most unique community, not just on water, I say just the world's most unique community. So with that in mind, I'd like to start and help everybody come up to speed. Let's talk about Ulysia, okay? So for those that may be hearing about Ulysia for the first time, Frank, how would you describe the project?
Well, yes, you said it's not a yacht, but it is a yacht, actually. And I can pick up what you said before. I was also thinking, one day, I'll have an Espen Øino yacht. Now we're actually building the biggest yacht in the world with my dear longtime friend Espen. So this is a very different kind of yacht concept. It's a residential yacht for multiple owners. It's the size of the cruise ship, however. So a floating condominium, you can say. It's a home for those who are on board. We have 120 residences, ranging in size from 100 square meters to 1,000 square meters about. And 1 to 8 bedrooms, actually. So, and Ulysia offers some great features like 2 helicopters on board, which will make it very convenient for the owners to come and go, but also to explore. Or heli-skiing, for example, is something I'm looking forward to from the boat in Greenland or wherever, if it's still independent, let's see. And, or for emergencies, of course.
And Frank, what was the initial spark or inspiration that kind of planted this seed of Ulysia for you?
That happened around 25 years ago, quarter of a century ago.
Wow.
Yes.
I'd like to say I wasn't born, but that wouldn't be true, sadly.
That was when the first residential ship called The World was launched. And I followed that, and I found that just a very cool concept. I was intrigued. I thought, I'd like to have a place like that, on a boat like that, one day. But it never got further than that until a few years ago.
And Espen, let me bring you into the discussion. What initially attracted you to the Ulysia project?
Well, I think that the one Frank and I, we have it's just very bright lights here. I should wish I brought my sunglasses like Macron or the rock stars, because this is bright. Frank and I, we have a lot of things in common. One of them being that he's Swiss, I'm Norwegian, so we're kind of outside of the political Europe. We have a passion, more important, we have a passion for the nature and the sea. And we met many years ago when Frank moved to Monaco. I've been there now for 20 years this year. And we quickly discovered that we had a common passion for anything floating on the water. And for me, generally I'm most happy when I'm either on the ski slopes or on the water. And being able to live a full life on the water, having your home, as Frank said, this was an incredible dream and a challenge. And what Frank didn't say, Frank is actually a trained architect. So he's a designer in disguise. I'm not an architect, I'm a naval architect, which is an engineering background, but I turned designer. So it's kind of an interesting dynamics here. So when we got started on this, it was very exciting, and it's been a very exciting journey so far.
Very interesting. And Frank, when you look at it, what is the gap that you see, whether it's the market or in society, that you feel makes Ulysia a project that needs to be there?
Well, I know that there's a large demand for something like that. The first residential ship was a big success. The values of the residences there have tripled over the years. So I always knew that there was a demand. And then in the last years, the whole cruising idea has become more and more popular. And so I was very convinced that there would be a demand. And talking with people, everyone I talked to loved the idea of this. And today, in this insecure world we have today, and also after COVID, many people like the idea of having a safe place somewhere. So Ulysia will be the safest place on the planet, I can say.
And Espen, for you, what does Ulysia stand for at its core? And I go beyond the product or the service.
Well, I'm coming from the world of yachting. Most of the yachts we do are a sort of custom project. It takes a lot of time and engagement from a client to push through a yacht project, which will take anywhere between 4 to 5, sometimes 6 years to design and build. And then once it's in service, you've got to operate it like a small company, or sometimes even a big company. Some of the largest yachts we've done, they have up to 100 crew. I think what's interesting with this is that this would be a hassle-free yacht experience. You don't have to deal with any of the operations of the yacht. It's just your apartment, your home. And that, I think, is a big thing which many people will appreciate. Unfortunately, in the yachting world, we have owners, first-time owners, who have been disillusioned with the operational side of things. Having to run a yacht is not always easy. So, as we talked about earlier, there's a lot of human interfaces, like running a company. It's not always easy to find the right people. People sometimes jump ship, literally. You've got to find
25 years, I know the drill,
new
trust
chef
me.
on the 15th of August in the Med. It's not easy, you know. This is a whole professional organization running the ship, and you just enjoy it.
And Espen, I have to, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's you can see the maquette outside, which I find impressive. But I need to ask, tell us some of the cool features and gadgets. Sorry, I have to ask. This is like, I've seen exciting pools and helipads, and walk us through some of the things that you find fascinating on this vessel.
I think the amenities, first of all the apartments have balconies. So you have outside space, living space, private living space. And that's very important, I think. In my own experience, when I'm on board ships and yachts, weather permitting, you spend 90% of your time outside, your time awake outside. So we have a lot of outside spaces. We also have, of course, the pools, the spas, the disco, and of course the amenities for getting ashore, all the water toys, the tenders, helicopters, 2 helicopters on board.
The submarines.
The submarine, which is...
I like how Frank says, the submarine.
Yes, yes.
Of course,
And,
of course.
2 indoor paddle and pickleball courts.
This is,
7 meters high.
It's designed around a very active lifestyle. And I think that's very important. That's what we see in yachting as well. The yacht owners are having a much more active lifestyle today than they had 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And so we have all the amenities you could possibly think of to carry on with your life.
Even at school, because we want also families to be
Very important.
happy on board and be able to educate your children on board.
Yeah.
Guys, when I see the two of you, it's clear that the energy that you've had is a friendship, and you've created something together. But I'm sure there are moments where you must have had differing opinions. Tell us about some of these moments where you may have disagreed and how this led to something better coming out for this dialogue or debate, and you arriving at a better place with the project.
Well, I have to say clearly, there never was such a moment.
Wow.
Espen and I think very much alike, have the same vision,
Yes.
and we may have different ideas, but they were always complementary, never opposing really, not that I remember.
No, and I think you're right, but it doesn't mean that we didn't have, design development is much like a ping pong game. You're sort of bounce ideas off each other, and most of the time the end result is better than when you started. So it's been a very enjoyable process. It is an iterative process. And I think what you see today is the result of not just the two of us, but there's a huge team behind us, so which is part of the design team as well. Interior designers, planners, people from the operational, have the operational experience from the world and other ships, and that's very important because a lot of the secret of a good ship is actually what you don't see. It's a good, what we call the GA, general arrangement, which is the layout of the ship. A lot of that is what you don't necessarily see or pay attention to because you will never see it, but it's a backbone of it's like any house. If you have a good layout.
I think it's beyond a house, because in a house at least somebody gives you the electricity and the sewage, and in a ship you basically produce everything. So you're a power plant.
You have to be self-contained.
So it's far more complicated than a house. I think I spent too many years in shipyards, so I appreciate that. Frank, what is it that excites you most about the next phase of this project?
Well, the next phase is the start of construction. And that, of course, is an extremely exciting phase when you see something that you've designed on paper, on a computer, actually take form and grow day by day.
And this is a question I want to ask both of you, because you think alike, but you also bring a slightly different angle into the conversation. And that is, when Ulysia is actually super successful, in the way that you envision, both of you, what will people say about it, say in 5 years from now?
I kind of think, we're both residents in Monaco. This is, Monaco Day in Davos. I've been in Monaco for 20 years now. What I love about Monaco, it is this relatively small community, but it's very eclectic and international. It's safe. It's by the sea. My vision is that somehow we will be able to recreate some of that, but on the sea, and it's mobile. And that, I think, something is very unique. Being able to reposition this group of nice people, interesting people, enterprising people, from all walks of life, all nationalities. If we can recreate some of that in a mobile way, we'll cruise the world over a 3-year period.
And beautiful. Yeah, we're planning to start from Monaco, our maiden journey, and that will actually be in 5 years. So if you ask what's going to be in 5 years, people will see Ulysia finished on the sea for the first time. So I think that will create lots of excitement. And in this next phase, there's a lot of collaboration going on. I presume it will continue. And do you think there will be more projects coming between the two of you? I think there's a demand, especially also for other markets in Asia, Middle East. We are definitely open for that. So, but we'll take one step at a time.
I think a lot of people will be inspired by it, yes. I'm not sure if that was the sense of your question,
absolutely.
Or we can design other boats together.
Other projects, if they're inspired, I'm sure more will come. I'm sure more will come. Let me open the floor for some questions before, because there's one question I'm dying to ask you both.
Already asked too many
yes,
this gentleman.
Okay, let me just grab a mic for you. There's a beautiful lady coming, bringing you a microphone. And she has such a beautiful smile that you absolutely cannot say no. Please.
So I missed the start, so hopefully you didn't cover this. But I'm listening to Utopia, right? And so I just wanted to know the vision. How far out does it go? Is it a new nationality? You know, nice people, entrepreneurial people. What happens when things go wrong? Have you thought about that when you put all those dynamics together? Even in Monaco, we do have judiciary, we do have police, a lot of them, cameras and so on. Have you thought that far out, or is it at this minute in time everybody's smiling? What happens when the smiles aren't smiles anymore?
Yes, I think that's a key aspect and something that's easily forgotten. You have to have a structure in place for the community, kind of a corporate governance. Constitution, yes. You have to provide for when things go different, things go wrong, you know. And we have so much paper that the owners will sign where all of this is in it. We've done that, yes.
And
really
there's
important.
like a homeowners association in a way.
Yes,
which,
exactly. Shareholders agreement, but then a homeowners association, exactly, all of that.
Any other questions? One question there in the back and one here.
Hi, good evening. Just have a quick question. If you can estimate how much of the time will the ship be on water traveling versus being, on berth? How would the experiences being, pulled together for those residents? Would it be, like a second home for most of the residents, or would it be a primary home and they're traveling the world? And how do you see the experience?
That will be different from case to case. Based on what we know from the first residential ship, we expect 20 to 25% of the residents to live on board full time. Others will spend maybe only 4 months or 6 months, maybe even a little less. We don't know that yet. So it's up to everyone.
And would it be continuing to travel around the world, or would it be?
Yes, it will. It will travel continuously around the world. It will go to all kinds of places, not just the seasonal places, Med and Caribbean. We'll go to remote places where one wouldn't be able to go otherwise. And that's the idea as well, to enable the people living on board to discover completely new things and do things that they would not ever have done otherwise. So remote in the Arctic or up the Amazon River with this ship, or islands that one has never heard of. So everything, but also Saint-Tropez or New York. We'll do everything.
But I think if your question is the availability of the ship, typically these ships, they can go for 5 years before every dry docking, if you like. There will be yard periods periodically, but the big ones are every 5 years. But the idea is that it will be more or less continuously cruising. Cruising meaning also being stationary. And the idea is that they will be stopping longer in most places than, for example, a cruise ship, which may just be an overnight or one day. The idea here is that you will be able to really learn about the places you go to, stay there 4 or 5 days, and have a more in-depth experience of the places you go to. And then at least every 5 years will be a dry dock period and a yard period for periodic maintenance, and possibly some between.
I'll take the final question from the audience here.
You said that we need 3 years in order to do the world. The question is, if an owner stays for 3 years on the boat, in which tax regime he's going to be? Where he's going to be resident?
Yeah, that's a question we often get. Everyone on board has to have a land-based address, a land-based residency. That does not have to be a tax residency. So on the boat itself, no taxes are due. We have the Swiss flag, we will have the Swiss flag, but no Swiss taxes. So if somebody lives on the boat full time, they will need an address on land, but they will not pay taxes there.
And my final question, please, you have...
Tax-free.
Sorry?
So you are going to be tax-free.
Yes.
Yes. So the final question that I want to ask both of you, and for me it's important because you are inspirational, you've achieved so many things and you continue achieving so many things. What is some advice that you would share with innovators, young people that are out there that are trying to also bring a bold vision to life, to make something happen? I'll start with you, Frank.
Well, I think you have to have a clear idea. That's the first thing. And then you have to be convinced of it and follow it. You have to be dedicated, focused, and unwavering in following that idea. But not blindly. You have to have a good plan, because without a plan, nothing will work. And then you will need the right people to work with, because no one can realize a vision all on his own. You always need the right people you can work with to make it happen.
Espen?
I think if I could add to that, going back to my university days 400 years ago, that we had a very good head of department at my university who said, communication is I did an engineering degree, and he said if you cannot sell your idea, you might be the best engineer in the world. But if you can't present it properly, whether it's an oral presentation, illustrations, whatever, you're worth nothing. And this is 40 years ago. We had to do videos, stand up on the stage, and we were videoed and everything. We saw how lousy we were, and that made us realize the importance of that. And I think David Rubin said it earlier today as well. The communication today, particularly more today than ever, perhaps, is very important. And also clarity, as Frank said. The other thing our head of department said, if you're setting out to do something, if you can't define the objective of that in one single sentence, you're off to a bad start. So think things through, be convinced, convince yourself, then it's easier to convince the others.
Guys, it's such an honor and treat to be with you. I can see the passion you share, I can see where this project is going, and I cannot wait to see it get started and many more to come. Thank you for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tassos.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Frank. Quick picture.